Okay. Hello, everybody. For those of you who have been here who have tuned in over the last two rallies, I have been sharing the words of other figures during these rallies. So far, we have shared the words of Frederick Douglass, Ida B. Wells, and Robert Smalls, and I would like to continue that this week. The first person I am going to be quoting here is Sojourner Truth. At the 1851 Women's Rights Convention held in Akron, Ohio, Sojourner Truth delivered what is now recognized as one of the most famous abolitionist and women's rights speeches. Anti-woman. She continued to speak out for the rights of during and after the Civil War. She was also born an American slave. This is an excerpt from that speech. Then that little man in black there, he says women can't have as much rights as men, because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it. The men better let them. The next person I would like to quote is Booker T. Washington. He was an American educator, an author, and an advisor to several American presidents of the United States. He was also born an American slave. This is a quote from him. I have learned that success is not to be measured so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed. How often I have wanted to say to white students that they lift themselves up in proportion as they help to lift up others. I have found that the happiest people are those who do the most for others. No man whose vision is bounded by color can come in contact with what is highest and best in this world. The last person I would like to quote is John Fields. Unlike many of the other figures I talked about, John Fields is not a historical figure in the same way. He did not advise presidents. He did not go on speaking tours and lead abolitionist movements. He was born a slave, and he helped in his own way, he helped build the town of Lafayette, Indiana. He met his wife, Elizabeth Scott, whose family had built the first house on what is now North 20th Street. John vowed to be the one to build the second. He saved up enough money and eventually built that house and bought a number of houses that he rented out. He went on to help found the Second Baptist Church in Lafayette. In a major research undertaking, there was a number of slaves from across America were interviewed. John Fields was part of this, and this is part of the interview that he gave. In most of us colored folks was the great desire to be able to read and write. We took advantage of every opportunity to educate ourselves. The greater part of the plantation owners were very harsh if we were caught trying to learn or write. It was the law that if a white man was caught trying to educate a slave, he was liable to prosecution, entailing a fine of $50 and a jail sentence. We were never allowed to go to town, and it was not until after I ran away that I knew that they sold anything but slaves, tobacco, and whiskey. Our ignorance was the greatest hold the South had on us. We knew we could run away, but what then? In this interview, he actively asks the person interviewing him to end with these specific words. Always remember that. The brightest man, the prettiest flower, may be cut down and withered in an hour. The cloak of life is wound but once. Today is yours, tomorrow is not. No one knows when the hands will stop. I hope once again that these words speak for themselves. Thank you very much.